The number one thing I tell any company right now is do not make videos that look like ads. All the success I've seen from a lot of these companies, their videos have nothing to do with their immediate product, but they revolve the theme of whatever their company is.
Hey, what's up, branding experts? Arek here, and welcome to On Branding Podcast. And today, my guest is Amin Shaykho, and Amin is the founder of a $50 million tutoring app called Kadama, and which exploded to millions of followers on social media like TikTok and Instagram. And now it generates over $10 million in revenue per year. And Amin made Forbes 30 under 30 at the age of only 23 years old, which is super impressive. And today we're going to talk about leveraging social media to launch your brand. Hello, Amin. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited
Thanks
for
for
this
joining us.
conversation.
So your credentials are super impressive. You worked at Apple as a software engineer, right? And then you launched Kadama, and then you made it basically go viral, and that's how you built that brand. And now you were able to also do the same with your personal brand. Can you just talk to us a bit about your experience working at Apple? Maybe just walk us through the story, and then we can just focus more on social media and launching a brand on social media.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's crazy because I studied computer science at the University of Washington, and my entire trajectory early on was be a software engineer, maybe to be the best software engineer. And when I went into Apple, I initially, when I applied, I didn't even get in. This was my last year of school. And the thing is, I lived in Seattle, Washington my whole life, and Apple is based in California. And it was very rare for anybody from Seattle to go get accepted at Apple. And so there's this thing. Apple is already a massive company. It's like one of the most valued companies in the world. And people said it's almost impossible to get in. And as a software engineer, don't even bother trying. So people made it seem like it's impossible. And when I got rejected the first time, I was like, dang, I guess they're right. But what happened was, I think my performance in the interview, even though it wasn't the best, it showed potential. So that a few months later, they actually gave me an email. They said, you know what? We'd want to give you another shot. How about we fly you down to Cupertino, which is the big Apple spaceship, and we'll interview you. And if you do good, we'll give you a full-time job. And this happened in the summer when I graduated. And at this time, most of my friends already had jobs, right? Because usually with jobs, they give you offers much earlier so that when you finish school, you can immediately start working. And so I wasn't expecting it, but I landed it. And at the same time I was working at Apple, I was actually already working on my startup that I had came up with during school. And so when I came in, even though I was accepted as a software engineer, the experience I was gaining building a startup was teaching me design, marketing, operation, the full cycle. And so the moment I started contributing to the projects I was doing at Apple, my manager very quickly realized that I was actually thinking about it from a picture of an entrepreneur. And so he saw that and he was like, you are a software engineer, but what if we give you jobs that involve more than just doing that? And so at Apple, they call them secret projects, where every year people are put on secret projects. And if those secret projects are successful, they actually end up launching them. And for me, he put me on this project for the iMessage team. So this was back in a few years ago, and it was putting an iMessage when you can do threads where you can actually at somebody, so you can do like Eric or at Ben, or you can even reply back in a thread.
Mhm.
That didn't exist, but I pitched that to the team and I was like, hey, if we add this, I think a lot of younger people will use it because this now will be equivalent to what other social media apps are doing. And I pitched it to the manager and he was like, whoa, this is actually such a good idea. I love the product design. Let's pitch to the director. The director liked it, made me pitch to the VP, and eventually to the CTO, who's right under Tim Cook. And they actually ended up rolling it the year after that. So once I established that, very quickly, they're like, we're going to make this guy do work that feels like a startup. So instead of making me work on one feature like the mail app or photos app, instead, I come up with a brand new idea, create a little team for it, and then we assign it to the full designated team to actually work on it. And I worked on a lot of projects like iMessage, the Apple Research app, which actually allows doctors to connect sensors from like their watch and phone and be able to collect patients' data like heart rate, odometer, and stuff like that to create studies on them. And then a bunch of other projects like that. And I was doing that from 2018 till around 2021 when the pandemic hit. And because I was working on my startup at that point, and it's an education app, we realized that every single student was struggling during the pandemic because they lost access to their resources. And there was a surge in social media usage. And we were like, I think we could do something there. And we can talk about that later. But we jumped full time to the company, went viral on social media, and raised money shortly after. Said
Yeah,
bye to
and
my
it
corporate
sounds like
life.
it all happened so quickly. So let's talk about that. So what happens next? You launch you started working on Kadama, and how did you figure out all? I know that you've been involved in many different aspects, not just software, but design, entrepreneurship, and stuff like that. So what made you actually think about, hey, this idea has a potential? I'm gonna use social media. I'm gonna use Instagram, TikTok, whatever. We're gonna go viral and we're gonna build a brand. We're gonna raise the money and we're gonna launch it.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good question. Kadama actually, we started working on it in 2016 and we had three big pivots. In fact, one of our pivots, so our second one, we had three pivots. Our
Mhm.
second one was in 2020, where we decided to focus on in person tutoring. And the moment we actually got our first customer for that, the pandemic hit and it
Mm.
completely shut down that business. And we actually thought it was over because if everybody was accustomed to in person, what do you do now? And this concept of doing things online and in the scope of us getting tutoring online was really unheard of. It was more in person. Me being a Gen Z, at that point, I think I was around 21, 22. I've noticed like this app, TikTok, all my friends were on it. And back at that time, there was a stigma. It was like, it's an app where people go dancing. It's a kids app for dancing. And all the parents, people who were older than me, they were all making fun of it. They're like, it's embarrassing for somebody your age, a grown man who works at Apple, to be on there. And they just essentially said all that. But in the back of my head, I was like, this makes no sense. Ignore the dancing, the stigma. People are going viral every day. They're getting millions and millions in views. And getting that much views is crazy. People pay crazy amount of money to get that kind of view. I'm gonna ignore what they're saying. And I'm gonna go just make my own personal Shaco page so that way it doesn't affect the reputation of my company and just see what I can do on it. And I posted a video. It was my friend eating an In-N-Out burger, and In-N-Out was a very popular burger here in the West Coast and even in America. And but it's controversial because some people love it and some people hate it. So when he took a bite out of the burger, his reaction was super suspenseful. And after chewing on it for a few seconds, he was like, "This is disgusting." And that caused a huge war in the comments. Some people were saying, "What do you mean it's disgusting? This is the best burger ever." And then the contrary, like, "You're right." And that caused the video to go viral. And I was like, oh my God, this is just a random video on my camera roll. Let me post a few videos and video after video viral. And I was like, this is it. I don't care what anybody's saying. This is the movement, and I'm gonna be first in it. And we go and create a
Mhm.
page for Kadama. And at that point, we were like, education is boring. Every
Yeah.
kid hates learning. Not every kid, but a lot of kids will not go learn out of their way. And all the education brands are tailored towards parents or schools. But if the end consumer is the student, how come there's no fun brand for the student? And we were like, okay, let's think outside of the box. Within education, there's a concept of life hacks. And within life hacks, we can teach students like how to get 50% off your Starbucks drink, how to save 30% shopping at Walmart, or here's how to find if your friend put you on red on Snapchat, for example. So these fun hacks that they like. And this, when these videos started popping off, like video after video getting 1 million views, 10 million views, we started getting millions of Gen Z followers following us. And at that point, we had cracked the code on how to build a massive audience. And now the question was, since we have them all at the palm of our hands, how do we sell them our product? And when we did that and found the right way to actually advertise our app, within a few videos, one of our videos popped off, 4 million views, got us
Wow.
30,000 downloads, put us number 7 on the App Store charts. And we had investors soaring in saying, yo, what are you guys doing? We're seeing you on the charts. And this was around late 2020. And then within 6 months from there, so early 2021, we had secured our 1.7 million seed round. That same day, me and my co-founders put our 2 weeks notice at Apple, get his images, and we went full
Wow,
time
no,
on the
that's
company.
a great story, and I've watched some of those videos. Basically, I know what you're talking about, like iPhone hacks, tips, in general, life hacks, and stuff like that. So, was it a coincidence, or you knew that it's gonna? Because the first story that you talked about was about your friend, controversial, some kind of controversial reaction to In-N-Out's burger. But how did you actually figure out, hey, I'm gonna do life hacks? Why not something else? Why life hacks? Did you like notice that is performing well on other accounts, or?
Yeah. So keep in mind this was 2020 and TikTok was brand new in 2020. And not brand new, but it was just about to get recognition and so forth. And we were just thinking at the end of the day, we need to create content that's going to get students engaged. And life hacks, just we just thought about what do kids our age like. And keep in mind, there's three co-founders. I was 21, 22. Our youngest co-founder, Danny, who happens to be my brother, is 18, and our other one is like around 20. So we thought exactly like
Mm.
how our target demographic thinks. So, and we like to get discounts to stuff. We liked things that were maybe drama related. So, for example, find out if your ex is cheating on you or something like that. Anything related to that, or how to basically do your homework efficiently. And that concept, we thought about it, but we're like, what if we can make this into captivating short form videos that catch the attention span of these younger audience. And me and my brother sat down, and actually a lot of credit to my brother. He was like, "Hey, let's show them quick iPhone features that they don't really know about." For example, not everybody knows that you can do this with your phone, or not a lot of people know that you can do this. And really quickly started to make very easy to understand videos, and video after video were popping off because we were the first people to do it. And when you come into an area and you're the first to introduce a new category,
Yeah.
you will see a lot of success. And it all started gathering our demographic, and really within a few videos we knew this is the sauce. Like, we were going to stick to life hacks and scale our brand that way. And then every few videos we'll introduce another life hack called homework help life hack, which would
Uh-huh.
be our
Okay,
app.
so it all makes sense. So if you just can summarize for our audience, so basically you need to understand your audience. That's first thing, right? And that was easy for you because basically you are the audience, right? So it was easy for you to understand. But for those entrepreneurs who are building different brands in different spaces, I guess you need to just go beyond your industry, right? Like you did, right? You didn't really create videos about teaching students tutoring. You went for life hacks, something much broader. And then you created this call to action and stuff like that, and funnel those this audience to the app.
Correct. The number one thing I tell any company right now, especially with the short form content, is do not make videos that look like ads. In fact, all the success I've seen from a lot of these companies, their videos have nothing to do with their immediate product, but they revolve like the theme of whatever their company is. And it's more of this. You as a company should try to act like a content creator, like a personality, and make them fall in love with you that way. And once you've done that, then go and sell your product. A lot of companies make the mistake and they come in the mentality of selling first, which essentially is a turnoff for the target demographics. And for any company, there is a broader theme or niche that you can do that doesn't necessarily involve your product that can garner an audience. And from there, once you've tapped that in, you can go in to try and promote your company.
And now, when it comes to technical aspects of creating videos, I've seen your videos on like Reels on Instagram and TikTok videos, and some of them are like there are different ways of going about your videos, right? So can you just give us some technical aspects of creating a video? Like it should be like around 30 seconds, let's say. You should switch the camera every 3 seconds and stuff like that. Do you have any tips for us?
Correct. There's various strategies, but let me tell you one of the strategies I employ. Number one is I like to be very quick to the point. Any type of value proposition I have in the video, whatever theme, I'm very quick to tell you what it is. I don't waste time. And in my video, when I'm delivering it, when it comes to the visuals, I like to move it fast, 2 to 3 seconds max per clip, because the attention span of most audience consuming short form content is very short. And every 2 to 3 seconds, it triggers something in your brain to re engage you in. That's number one. Number two is I start the video with something to catch your attention, but I don't use something basic that's being overused by other content creators. I try to give them like a hook that they haven't heard before, but that's captivating. For example, if it's a video teaching you a life hack about Apple, I may start off the video by saying, do not shop at Apple until you know the
Hmm.
secret. So they're gonna be like, what is that secret that's preventing me from shopping at Apple? And then I go and deliver that value. And I keep it between, right now, my videos are around 15 seconds because that's the type of time you need to deliver a life hack. And because I want to make sure I can get as high of a watch time as possible, because the algorithms actually favor a complete, like, high completion rates of your video. But obviously there are different type of content that require more time, like 30 seconds or even 1 minute. And again, as long as everything you're putting in that content is valuable, and when you can look at those metrics where if people are dropping off, go figure out why it's happening and fix it, you should see success. And I do a lot of iterations. People see me succeeding right now, but they don't understand behind the scenes. I've probably tried out 5 to 10 ideas
Hmm.
for every successful video
Uh-huh.
to get
Okay.
that
So that's a
success.
good point actually. That's so basically you create some drafts, you come up with some ideas, you record those reels or TikToks, and then you make a decision basically what you're gonna publish. Is that correct? Or you publish everything and then
Mhm.
you check what performs and then do more of that.
So I'm at a point right now where I know what works and what doesn't work. And so in real time, most of my videos are doing good. But sometimes when I want to expand to different niches, I'll do experimentations. And there's a term called cross pollination. So let's say I do a lot of iPhone hacks. Even though I do iPhone hacks, I could technically go into, let's say, Android hacks, because there will be a similar audience. And so when I want to try new ideas, I try to build a bridge. So I do videos that have similarities to existing concepts that already are being used in that work, and I slowly add in the new attributes until I get to a video that's completely new, and that de-risks me. But in general, I will experiment here and there. I will see what works, doesn't work. I'll pull it off. It doesn't work. If it does work, I'll go and do more and more videos of that area. And when you're brand new, if you have no experience at all and no traction, what you can do is you can say, hey, okay, here's 4 ideas. And in a course of 1 month, every week, I'm going to focus on that type of idea. So in week one, maybe I'll do 5 different versions of the same idea. Week two, 5 different versions of idea two, and so forth. At the end of the month, I'll know what's working, what's not working, and I'll start my new month with the
Right,
idea that's
right.
working.
Okay. Just to sum up for our listeners, you need to be right to the point. You need to start with some hook, captivating hook. You gave us a great example. For example, do not shop at Apple until you know this secret. And then you make a cut. And then, so that's the hook. And then what else? And it basically depends on what kind of content you create. But you basically said it could be 30 seconds, it could be 60 seconds, but it's all about the retention. Is that correct? So you want to retain the retention, right?
The two biggest metrics are retention and view time. They're more important than
Mhm.
likes, shares, and comments, but there are various, it depends. There could be combinations of output. For example, a lot of shares, a lot of comments could also be captivating, but retention and view time, if you crack those two, everything else will
So I
fall
have
into
one
play.
question for you. So I'm in branding space, right? My audience is designers or entrepreneurs. I do logo design, brand identity design, websites. You think I have this idea, for example, I could talk about Photoshop hacks or Illustrator hacks. What do you think about that? I should go broader.
Yeah. So with Photoshop, and I use Photoshop a lot, so I know the product pretty well. You have the actual creativity to do more than some of the other products. And what I mean by that is your product could actually be interesting. You could show somebody a cool time lapse of building a very nice animation, or not animation, a nice visual, and you can even relate it to like real time events. So for example, let's say there's elections and let's say Donald Trump is
Mhm.
running against Biden, right? You can do a very cool Photoshop image or of Donald Trump with a specific event, some sort of monumental event or historical event that happened in real time. Let's say what happened with the riots, for example. You could
Mhm.
leverage real time events and be creative. So some creative effort, right? Maybe with a time lapse or something, and it could engage the audience. So you can actually apply that where you're leveraging real time viral trends into what you're showing on Photoshop, and indirectly you'd be promoting Photoshop or whatever you're doing there. And there's also other stuff. Imagine you can do fun things like here's how to do this in 10 seconds, or and you can teach them a way to use Photoshop, like because ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, but Photoshop now integrates some sort of AI where you can type up
Yeah,
something and it will create it for you, right? Whereas before could have taken
exactly.
days for an artist to do. So you can think outside of the box with that, and because it is a creative source, right? So there's various ways. Just off the top of my head, I came up with what I show using real life events, but
Yeah.
there's so many other verticals you can take, and that's the whole thing. With any product, most of the time you can step out, think outside the box, and apply that concept, which will appeal to a larger audience so that you're not
Yeah, that's a
constrained to
good
your niche
point. I
audience.
love that. Yeah, and I enjoyed this conversation. I've taken some notes for myself. I'm not on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, but I think I should go on TikTok and try these out. And definitely, I encourage our audience to try these out. You are a great example of how anyone can basically build a brand these days with organic traffic from social media, TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is. Thanks for coming on the show and how we can connect with you. I think you're everywhere at Amin Shaykho. Is that correct?
Yeah, Shaykho on all social medias, and yeah,
Okay,
that's where you can
awesome.
find me.
And your website, you wanna link to your personal website or to Kadama?
If you put aminshaykho.com, it will link you to all my social medias.
Okay,
It will
so we're
also
gonna
link to you to Kadama
so we're
source.
gonna
Yeah,
link to your
everybody can
website.
find me
Thank you
from
so
that.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.